The suds that whisper. It started like every other Thursday. Tony was deadlifting an old dryer he found behind a bowling alley. Jesse was sitting on a folding chair in an empty parking space, sipping a green juice and reading the ingredients on his new herbal detangler out loud like it was poetry. Then the call came in. Jesse answered, still reading the bottle. "You got grime? We got time." The voice on the other end was hoarse. "It's my laundromat. In Windy Pines. Something's wrong with the suds. They talk when the machines spin. Customers are hearing secrets. Their own secrets." Tony raised an eyebrow. Jesse closed the cap on his detangler slowly. "Soap that knows your business," he muttered. "That's dark magic and gossip combined." Windy Pines was the kind of town where everyone knew each other and hated knowing each other. The laundromat was at the corner of Forgettable and Uncanny, right next to a nail salon that never had customers and a deli that only sold boiled cucumbers. Inside, it looked like a normal place. Old machines, peeling linoleum, a soft scent of fabric softener and despair. But something was wrong. Tony stood still. "You feel that?" Jesse sniffed the air. Shame. A woman sprinted out of a washing machine stall, screaming, "I never paid my parking tickets!" before bursting into tears and knocking over a detergent display. The owner waved them over, trembling. "I installed new, smart soap dispensers last month. Ever since, the suds have been whispering." Tony looked at Jesse. Jesse was already tying a silk bandana around his forehead. Time to clean. They approached machine number 7, the worst offender. The display blinked. Load, rinse, reveal. Jesse dropped in a small hand towel. Hit start. The drum spun, bubbles formed. Then, voices. "You told Mark you were at Pilates. You were not at Pilates. You said you liked that gift. You returned it instantly. You still think about the 3rd grade talent show." Tony leaned in. "This soap's snitching in Dolby Surround." The drum vibrated violently. Suds overflowed and began crawling out of the machine like soap spiders. Tony yelled, "It's sentient suds!" Jesse's hair reacted first, flaring out like a majestic lion under a heat lamp. He flipped backwards onto the folding table and pulled out a mop soaked in clarity oil. Tony reached into his duffel and yanked out the spin cycle hammer trademark, forged from dryer lint and sacred pipe metal. "Let's do laundry," he said, and waded into the foam. The suds were alive. They climbed walls. They whispered guilt. They showed visions in their shimmer. Tony was grabbed by a foam tentacle. "You skipped leg day in 2012, it hissed. Tony roared and bench-pressed the whole washing machine off its hinges. Across the room, Jesse battled with elegance, dodging guilt bubbles and blasting detangler mist like holy water. He muttered rhymes under his breath to stay focused. "Truth in the bubbles, lies in the spin. But my edges stay tight and my soul stays thin." One final wave surged. An enormous blob of soap, shaped like a therapist and glowing slightly, rose from the center machine. "I am the stain within." Tony was knocked back. Jesse stood alone, his sunglasses cracked, his pompadour slightly deflated. He clutched his comb and stepped forward. "You want to air our dirty laundry? Let's go." Final wrap mode activated. "You call yourself Truth, but you're just a mess, stirring up shame in a laundromat dress. I don't fear wrinkles, I don't fear age. My shine comes deeper than a fashion page. You whisper secrets, I blast clarity. Styled in peace, not in parody. I'm silk, I'm smooth, I rinse with grace. Now watch me clean this haunted place." With that, Jesse tossed in a truth capsule, a bottle of concentrated lavender justice. It detonated in a soft explosion of forgiveness and glitter. The suds collapsed. The laundromat lights flickered, then held steady. It was over. Back at the van, Jesse reapplied product with the gentleness of a painter restoring a masterpiece. Tony stared at his reflection in the side mirror. "You ever think about how many messes we've seen?" Jesse replied without looking. "Only when the conditioner sits too long." The phone rang again. Jesse answered. "Flex and Fresh. Your mess, our mission." He paused, then raised an eyebrow. "Tony, there's a retirement village where the bingo balls keep spelling curses." Tony opened a new protein bar and said, "Time to roll out." They climbed into the van. Jesse gave one last look to the cracked mirror in his hand. Smiled. "Stay silky, baby."